living my dreams. Ooh, I'm living my dream. Living.
Our show. I'm Adela Sayre. I'm your marketing and advertising expert.
And I am Tanisha Polk. I am your content creator and production expert. And together we are Addicts, Inspiring the Dream podcast.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. We have a very special guest today who owns her own travel concierge business. She is an alumni of Spelman College and also received her master's from Georgetown University, which is a school that I liked a lot. She has spent over 15 years working with the marketing, communications, and PR industries, both on the client as well as on the agency side. But travel has always been near and dear to her heart. It's a passion for her. She loves curating one of these one-of-a-kind experiences for customers who use Travel with Jim, which is her company. Please welcome Jade Williams to the show. Welcome, Jade.
Excited to join you, ladies.
Hi, Jade. Welcome.
We're so glad to have you. It's like we're working together again. So I love having you on the show. I'm glad you could be here. First question, we're going to jump right in, is what motivated you to get into this business? Because it's not a business that, a lot of people think about, African Americans starting.
Yeah.
What was your motivation?
So like you said, travel had always been a passion for me. First trip out of the country was to South Korea. And so from college through post-college, I was always, featuring my trips on social. My business partner at the time, we would go to China and Australia. And at that time, people weren't going to places like that. And so friends and family would see us posting and say, you really should plan these types of trips for other people. And you're really good at it, like from the restaurants to the hotels. And, coming out of college, we're not making that much money. So everyone was like, and you guys are affording these amazing trips. So when I moved to DC, in 2015, my business partner and I got our LLC and we planned our 50th birthday trip. It was one of those moments where everyone's telling you to do something, and we had reached out to another company to plan it for us, and it was just so expensive, so complicated, and we said, let's give this a try and see if we can make this happen. And so our first trip was our birthday trip. Had people from like 8 or 9 different states come.
Nice.
Super affordable. We went to Belize. It was a surprise for everyone. Again, Belize wasn't really on the radar yet in 2015. So, that was the start. And for me, it's really just about curating unique experiences. Taking the hassle out of like planning, because planning trips is a lot of work.
Yes.
From internet research to going on TikTok and talking to people who have been to previous destinations. So that's what motivated me to start our own, was to just create something different and make it an easy process for people.
That sounds very exciting, especially the exotic places that y'all have traveled to. One of the things I would ask you is like when a customer is coming to you and asking you, say, hey, I want you to put together this trip for me. And, for whatever occasion it might be, would you recommend something that they may not have asked for just to show them what the possibility is?
Yeah, that's a good question because it's varied. Some people are like, I know I want to go to this destination or I just want to go somewhere warm. And so typically a key question during my consultation call, some people it's, I don't know why that's a question, is budget. Because your budget will drive where you can or can't.
Budget determines how the trip gonna go.
Right.
Very valid question.
And
we all have champagne taste, but sometimes on a beer budget.
That's where like social media my life a little challenging, because someone will be like, I went to this amazing destination and spent $5, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to plan that same type of trip where you're taking a bus to get to said location and you're staying in a hostel. Like, that's not the type of trip I'm going to plan. So for me, my process, like budget definitely drives it. Also trying to understand what type of traveler you are. You know, for some people, they want 5-star accommodations and they just want to relax. Some people want to explore the culture. Some people just want a nice beach. So I really try to listen intently to figure out what would bring you joy during your vacation, because I don't do any like cookie cutter trips, right? Like everything is curated to that specific client. And also just figuring out what your passions are. Whether it's art or, you know, cocktails or cooking, and trying to pull those things through and then figure out, does that destination for that for you?
Okay.
Cooking on a trip, like yeah, I'm totally 5 star in it, Jade. Beach me all day with private chefs. Okay, that's the kind of trip I want. So Jade, how did you set yourself apart from other travel advisors within the industry?
Yeah, so it's funny. I'd say in my 20s, we used a travel agent and hated it. And I
Mm,
was I don't understand why people use them. She just wasn't available. It was like a very set package, no changes. Um,
Mm.
and so when we went into business, it was how do we create more of like a white glove service experience? In that sense, white glove, we also don't focus on like a specific destination. I'd say 97% are repeat. And then out of the repeats come referrals. So as a result, there aren't many like not pushing marketing. It's lots of word of mouth. I'll highlight the trips that I'm doing on social media. Folks will tag me. But for me, I really want people to get the true essence of a trip that speaks to them. There's lots of vacation packages out there. You can go on Expedia and get your flight and your hotel included, but then it's like, what do you do when you get there? And, you know, is there a restaurant that I should have made reservations for 2 months ago? So that's where I tried to set myself apart in offering those services. So restaurant reservations, or I have a client now heading to Anguilla today,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
other son trip, and he's a chef.
Okay.
And how we picked Anguilla was they're having like a whole Anguilla culinary experience food week. So that spoke,
Nice.
yeah, and so like timing was everything. So I look into those types of things so that also it's like you're not just necessarily going to a destination and kind of like winging it or just doing all touristy things. I was just in St. Lucia last month, planned a baby moon trip for my best friend, and Burner Boy was performing. So we went to go see him. So yeah, that's how I try and self set myself apart, is just offering unique experiences that perhaps you wouldn't find on your own, and kind of just going that extra mile, always being available during your trip as well. Because that's the worst, is to go somewhere and you feel like, man, like I wish I could call somebody because I want to do this now, or I have a quick question, and you don't have a go-to. So I become your go-to person.
got it. So I think let's go back to the white glove that you're
Hmm.
saying. So does that include, you know, even when they get there and maybe things are not according to like what you plan? Like, you know, for example, about 2 years ago, I took me and like 20 of my friends. It was like a really big group, and we had a travel agent too. We went to Jamaica,
Hmm.
and everything seemed good when we were planning it or whatever. But when we got
Yeah.
there, it was, I mean, the resort was nice and the
Hmm.
rooms were nice, but everything else just wasn't
Mm.
lined up. Like she said, you know, the excursions weren't a part of it, like, you know, she told us or whatever. So how do you troubleshoot those type of things when those things happen?
Yeah, so for me, I always have a call before the trip, walk through everything so it's clear, you know, what's been paid for, already included, and then the things that you can do on your own. And things that are ticketed, I try and encourage, like, let's lock this in so it's not sold out, etc. But you could walk around and see different things on your own, or if you decide I want to have a leisurely lunch today, like I'll provide those recommendations. So having the call and just literally walking through the entire itinerary helps. And then two, like I just had a client heading to Jamaica. In this instance, they had already planned or booked their flight and hotel and wanted to just come to me for activities. And so I was like, well, did you book Club Mo Bay service? She was like, no, what's that? And I was like, well, the customs lines can be really long. So I highly encouraged like locking this in. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, thanks for telling me, like had no idea. And so they winded up booking it. And she was like, I'm just so thankful. And I think getting to a point where people trust your judgment is really key. And then just going above and beyond. So like in the rooms, just having like a thank you gift, right? Because I appreciate the business. You didn't have to choose me, and I want it to be a lifelong relationship, right? So it's I'm planning your trip now, but perhaps it's a birthday or a honeymoon or family reunion. Like I want me to be top of mind when you think of those things. To your point, I see where some people miss the mark. I'm a Virgo, so I try to be as thorough and
Y'all
deep
is
as possible.
crazy. I'm surrounded by Virgos and they're crazy people.
Nice people.
Yeah, my sister's a Virgo, my boyfriend's a Virgo, my daughter's
Okay.
a Virgo, and they all drive me crazy. Love them, love me crazy. But you know what? To your point though, it's so crazy that you say that about signs because I'm so particular about signs. Like, I mean, obviously, I believe like in God, Jesus Christ, and
Yeah,
everything, or whatever. But I do believe that signs do similar signs, like it does carry some similar characteristics,
They
right?
do.
That you
there's
can
an
notice
energy
things.
for sure based on
Mm-hmm.
Eve and when you were born, or if you're a morning person, night person, like
Absolutely.
it all goes into it. Yes, I believe it too.
But what I was gonna say was one of the things that I do know about the Virgos. Well, for one, my boyfriend, he's a travel snob, so he has to be either Comfort Plus.
Yes,
We ain't reached first class yet, so I ain't gonna put that out there. But he has to be the first in the line to get on the board the plane. But one thing I can say about Virgos, between like him and my sister, you guys are very, very particular about every detail. It's always like it has to be an experience. So I can just imagine what services you're offering just by knowing that alone. I'm pretty sure it's A1. So
for sure.
Yeah, and I think to your point about that, Tanisha, when you have someone like Jade travel with Jim and you're want this high touch service, and if you're that type of a person who wants that, and I think all of us want a level of that, as much as we can afford to get that. So I think, the fact that you're very particular about how things are done and you're double checking, that's half the battle to me with travel. I mean, because sometimes you do need to go behind or need someone to go behind and check on where they go, where the destination point is, and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. So
Yeah.
there's not a hiccup.
Or just being available should something happen. Like I've had flights canceled on clients, and I'm on the phone with Delta getting them on the next flight. Or I had a client on their honeymoon in Greece, and it was too windy for the ferry, and so it was 3 a.m. and I'm on the phone with the airline getting them a flight to get to their next destination. There is like a
Yeah.
difference in using some travel agents. Not all of them are going to go above and beyond like that for you, but I do.
Well, I'm glad you got that high touch service. One of the things you mentioned was about the social media that you were using and word of mouth being part of your how people have found out about Travel with Jim. So, could you tell us how your PR background, because you have a big communications background with a number of years in the business,
Mm-hmm.
and how that has helped you in getting your business off the ground?
Yeah. It's layers to it. Social is something that we kind of got introduced to it through college. It was a way to highlight fun things you're doing. Then we got into reels and all these things. I'm trying to do a better job of highlighting the experiences because I do recognize that seeing things in real time help people make decisions, right? So if they're seeing the types of trips that you're planning and seeing the types of trips you're going on, they feel confident in the selections that you're going to make. I'm also one who posts both from business and personal. I'm sure you recognize like lots of people will oftentimes have it's one or the other. Either the business profile is like super high with followers or they're personal. So trying to work through which platform works best. TikTok is something I haven't gotten into yet. I know it has a huge reach. The algorithm is great in terms of searching for specific things. So it's just a matter of having the time to create all the videos and do the voiceovers. But as far as like word of mouth, that has been my bread and butter. Thankfully, lots of my clients are on social, so they'll tag me, and then the friends will say, like, who planned your trip? And it's like, oh, Jade from Travel with Jem, like, definitely reach out to her. So for me, word of mouth has been the big key factor. And as far as like PR, what I've learned or how I carry it over is like relationship building, whether it's like the vendors that I'm working with, finding the one that I love and just being consistent with them, whether it's a transportation vendor, activity vendor, in close communication with properties that I send people to over and over again, so that, you know, clients get a little extra something special and know that it's because of the relationship that Jade has. So that's been my focus really. This past year is trying to build more brand partnerships and relationships so that it makes my job a little bit easier. Of course, there's always something new, whether it's a property or a restaurant, but to me, you never know who knows who.
True.
So, that's something I've tried to really just own in on. Even this experience, like, you know, we were working together and who knew it would turn into a podcast opportunity where we were talking about my travel concierge business. You just literally never know. So it's important to not have imposter syndrome, right? Like, you know what you're good at, you know what you do, share it. You never know what it may turn into. So.
Yeah. So what would you say are some of your best practices, you know, that the audience should keep in mind when using PR?
Yeah, so it's funny. I looked up like the formal definition of PR today, and it said it's managing how others see and feel about a person, brand, or company. So to me, like when you're out and you're talking about your brand, you're promoting your brand, be like present, like stand on business and be confident in whatever it is that you're representing. I think in times people will get into entrepreneurship, you know, either they'll get defeated or they'll feel intimidated. I was just at there was an event in Miami within the food and wine space, and there was an influencer there that I follow. And in an effort to, you know, try to figure out some unique opportunities within group travel, I went up to him, had a conversation, introduced myself. 10 years ago, maybe I wouldn't have done that. But it's like I am all in with this business, and in an effort to make it grow, I know that I'm going to have to like either step out on faith or, you know, have conversations to move the needle. So for me, it's, you know, truly being comfortable with what my brand stands for, what it's looking to do, to your point, how it stands out from other ones. And just truly living and breathing it and feeling confident in it.
Yeah, because you know they say you miss 90% of the chances you don't take. So
Yeah, and PR can be good or bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm always striving for good. because no one wants to hear about a quote unquote bad experience. And from those experiences, perhaps like you learn from them, figure out ways to do them differently. And, also just being okay with saying no.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
sometimes as an entrepreneur, you get so caught up in like, I need to make this sale, or I don't want to like say no to anybody. Like I want to be the superwoman, and sometimes it's just not a great fit. And so that plays into your PR too, is just being honest with what works and what doesn't.
Okay. So within your business, there's usually challenges or an obstacle that may arise. How are you identifying those challenges that you might see headwinds coming at your business? And what would you tell our audience to do in terms of to seek how to really look and seek out some of these obstacles so you can try to avoid them?
Yeah. So 2020 was a huge one.
Yes.
Nobody was booking trips. And it was hard. It was, well, what do we do in this moment? And ultimately, that's when we rebranded. Me and my business partner split. It wasn't something that I was prepared for, anticipated, etc. But we realized we wanted two separate things. We had lots of things going on. Still very much best friends. We just felt like it was time to make a shift. And so from that, I've learned I need to have multiple streams. I need to have multiple facets of the business. It can't just be planning pleasure trips, whether they're large or small. I've tried to connect with different agencies and corporations, whether it's conferences, retreats, events, to just make my portfolio a little bit more multifaceted. So like that's one way. Figuring out other streams, whether it's like a product that I come out with that I either promote on Amazon or, encourage clients to purchase before a trip. Just because it's not, thankfully, every month somebody is going on vacation. With the economy the way that it is, no one is going to take a trip if they don't have money. For being honest, these Boeing planes are out of control. So who knows, what
Right.
the future of that is going to be. And then, just getting to a point where I'm not just doing trips that require a plane. Like I've done road trips. Those just becoming more multifaceted, having other streams, and thinking of other ways to just like engage within the space, the travel space.
So the pandemic really pushed you to look at those other avenues of revenue streams. It sounds like also that you are very entrenched in what your industry as a whole is doing to keep abreast of, what some of the changes that you mentioned about the Boeing planes. So that's definitely an industry thing that they're going to have to work out. For our audience sake, basically you need to be very entrenched in what you're in the industry that you're actually participating within, and keep your eye on what some of the problems are, because they could potentially in some form or fashion eventually affect you.
Yeah, that goes for destinations as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
government sites are at super high alert, like do not travel. I feel like lots of people 21, 22, and prior to have traveled to the Jamaicas and the Mexicos and the Dominicans of the world, and they're like, where can I go to next? So also just keeping in mind, it's great to explore and have different experiences. You got to do the research, and that's where I come in too, to make sure it's safe.
Exactly.
So
Okay. Well, it is time for our segment of Seeds to Success. So, in light of our wonderful guest today, let's see. So, PR best practices includes the 3 C's: clarity, consciousness, and consistency. These best practices can be applied in many ways: developing creative assets, sending out lead generating letters, etc. So, Jay, as a communication specialist, what value do you place on the three C's, and how do you apply it to travel with Jim?
Yeah, so it was interesting when I saw that because it totally made sense, and I think it's a great process to include, moving forward. I think for me, for clarity, that's my first step is the consultation call. And the worst is to do all the work on my end, miss the mark, didn't fully understand what someone said. So even after the call, I recap the entire conversation because time is money. And
Yep.
so
And that's the Virgo in you.
time is money. So I want to make sure that whatever we discuss, whether it's dates, budgets, location, room type, how close to the beach you want to be, relaxed versus active, like all of those things are accounted for. So clarity is huge for me because if you're not clear, you're going to wind up going in circles and it'll prolong the process of getting the trip finalized. Consciousness. This is a big one that I think gets overlooked probably the most. So we talked about budget earlier. And I think as time goes on, I have to figure out the best way to address budget because for now, again, people will see stuff on social. Your budget's $5,000. You pick a hotel that's $2,000 a night and you want to go for a week. I can't make magic.
No.
I can't pull this experience out of
Travel with Jim, not travel with Houdini.
So I'm all for an amazing experience. And what I've tried to do is just create a tiered system, recognizing also, which entrepreneurs I know often struggle with, is while the price is the price, and you may tell me your budget's 5, if I show you something that's 7.5 or 8, you might be like, I want that. And so finding that healthy balance of not shortchanging the full experience for the client, not shortchanging myself and what I know is amazing, and trying to suppress or compact or reduce something in order to fit something that maybe is not realistic. So for that, I've really tried to either, like I said, create tiers, show this is what I would choose and why, in an effort to just open their eyes to other options, as well as being conscious of like where they stand, whether there's true wriggle room, whether this is like top budget. It's like I will reduce the number of nights in an effort to you having a great vacation, if it comes to that. But I don't like taking shortcuts when it comes to people's trips. And consistency. I think for me, that's where the clients that continue to post and come back year after year to plan 1 or 2 trips and having that excitement, right? It's you planned this trip for me and it was so great, and I want my friends to experience these same offerings. So for me, it's like I have to stay on top of my P's and Q's no mater how busy I get. And that can sometimes be a challenge. I'm probably going to have to hire an assistant soon. So someone
You're gonna have so much success from just all of these great trips that you're. I'm gonna call you soon.
Yes, I'll and that's the thing. I make it happen. Like come hell or high water. The client that's heading to Anguilla today, I think he reached out a month ago, but I knew him. I knew he was very excited. He's just very busy, and he could appreciate the services for what they are. I think travel agents and travel concierges are not for everyone. I think they're truly for the person who is okay letting go, having trust, really delving into the service that the person is providing. If you are someone that is gonna go on Expedia or all the different sites and add things up to the penny, then this service is not for you. Like you have that time to research and book it. Again, I'm not pulling magic, but I'm getting you really nice cars for your transfers,
Right.
activities, there's surprises along the way.
Mhm.
And you're staying in really nice accommodations. You might get upgraded. All of those things are offerings that you would get through booking with me. And I think that's, in talking to some of my other travel agent friends, that's the one thing is a challenge sometimes, is recognizing the value of using someone versus you having to like do it on your own.
Okay. Well, that is going to bring us to the end of our show today. Jade,
Yep.
do you have any last thoughts that you want to leave with the audience? And make it quick, girl.
No, it's
Not just saying, girl, make it quick, girl.
thank you for this opportunity to like just share this platform with you and just explain like what a travel concierge business is, and things to consider when traveling. I'm always down to create an amazing experience for someone. I'm based in Atlanta, and my goal is just to make sure you have a memorable trip, like, and that you come back. It's as simple as that. So it's also one of those things where I turned something that was truly a passion. I prayed on it, and God created the opportunity for me to do this full time. If you had asked me this last year, I'd be like, ain't no way. And so just having faith in who you are and what you want to do. And you guys are doing this podcast and taking a leap. So just trust in the leap.
Right. Well, for my last thoughts, I want to say one of the things that I think I found very, the most thing that I was intrigued by interviewing you today is, well, one, first and foremost, because I'm always talking about this on every podcast or whatever, is I'm a heavy believer in just, having faith, and, God or whoever you believe in, knowing that if he put it inside you, he'll see you through and take you all the way to the end. And sometimes even when things don't work out, the way you thought it, was, I definitely believe that all of the seeds that we plant here on earth, if it's coming from a good place and a positive place, we really want to try to affect change or, really help someone in some kind of way, that God finds a way to bring it all together in the end. Sometimes we just have to wait and see, right? But one of the things that I found most intriguing by you outside of that was just how detailed you were able to explain your business and, just the ins and outs and the process of it, and just how much thought and time you put into it, because we live in times now where people don't take their businesses serious. They go in it just for the money. It appears that you really have a passion for this, to where you really want to create experiences. So one, thank you for that, because there are very few businesses that do that now. And two, I think it just helps our listeners to know that it goes back to what we said on one of our other shows, is that, everything can't just be about making a dollar. You have to have some type of purpose behind this, right? To really like make this thing happen and create great experiences for people. Because when you do that, then I believe God does the rest, and then you'll be truly successful. So you said you started last year or, this year. And I think that this is just the beginning for you. So I just wish you all of the best. And I'm going to be booking with you, and I will definitely be spreading the word around.
I appreciate
Definitely.
that.
And
What
my
about
last thought would just be I appreciate, like Tanisha, there was definitely a lot of detail that you provided. And the one thing that I honed in on, just being the marketing person, is the research part. And I think, you have to do your homework in order to succeed. And, God may give you a vision, there's still some work that you have to do in order to make sure that vision, plays out into your real life. So thank you again for joining us. I appreciate everything that you shared today.
I'm glad I can make it happen. This was great. We have to
Yes, definitely.
part 2 in a few months or something. But
Yeah, when I'm able to travel, because I'm nursing a knee, I'll definitely be looking you up.
part 2, Jade? You might done came up with something where you able to get us our refreshments and stuff.
Right.
I got you real detailed, and I appreciate it. But I'm like, what you want to drink? They call Jade. But so tell our audience how they can get in touch with you.
Yes, so you can go to my website, travelwithjem.com, and feel free to follow me on Instagram. My personal is Jetty Jade 15, Jetty, and business is Traveling, Traveling, with Gem, Gen. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And we hope that this information was helpful to you. And we wish you guys all the success for your businesses or your up and coming new businesses. May God's blessings be on all of you. And until the next time, we will see you again. Bye.
Definitely. Bye.
I'm living my dreams. Ooh, I'm living my dreams.